qualifications are stated in the Constitution. You have to be a certain age and you have to be a citizen of the state in which you're running. So therefore, I am of age. In fact, you could say I'm probably three times, at least twice of age. So when you think about, because it's a fair question, anybody, and that's the beauty of our country, anybody can run for office. Anybody who wants to do what Michigan requires a candidate to do, which is get the signatures to get on the ballot, can run. That's what I did 8 years ago. So what are my qualifications? Well, bottom line is I meet the citizenship requirements and I meet the age requirements. Therefore, those are my qualifications. But what have I done in life? Well, a lot, to include 40 years, combination of active and reserve time in a Marine Corps uniform, to be a business owner in the operating room equipment business, to be an airline pilot based in Detroit for 23 years. All of those things were kind of running concurrently. Been around a long time, done a little, but I guess my proudest accomplishment, although I had really nothing to do with it other than be a father of children, is we've got 10 grandkids. And I felt compelled 8 years ago that when it was an open seat in the first district, that I felt compelled to run and to put my name in the hat. And that's how I first got elected. But I just let my resume stand for itself. I've been a leader, I've been a doer, I've been successful, and I believe that my conservative values fit not only the first district of Michigan, but Michigan in general and the United States, because we were founded by some pretty tough folks who came from some pretty tough times to create our country.
Well, I was a teacher. I worked in nonprofit, also as an attorney. I worked with companies. I also worked up against the bureaucracy of the VA. I can tell you that, there's good people that work in the VA. There's a lot of good work being done. There's a lot more that can be done. And I have felt those frustrations. I've come up against it. I've come up against government red tape, and I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have federal regulation and policy impact you personally, growing up here and then being from this district, we had, I have a very clear memory of like family losing homes and the housing crisis, not being able to find jobs, my husband being in Afghanistan, trying to raise a kid and feeling like I was screaming in the wind. And I don't want people to feel that way. I want us to be able to have voice. And that's what's been really important. And to me, and having those lived experiences, I think makes me a good candidate for this office because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like. And I've worked really hard to have the tools to push back, going to law school and, having actually taught or, worked in nonprofit space. And so I think I can bring a lot to the table to work on our behalf. Because we need someone to show up for us. We need someone to cut through the gridlock and someone who's really willing to put a voice in DC for us. I think Bergman's gone Washington. I don't think that's what we need. We need someone from our area, telling you 5th generation here who understands what we need and who's going to tell Washington, DC what that is. And I can tell you that they could learn a whole heck of a lot from us because I'm telling you, we are innovative, gritty, resilient. We know how to work together. And I think we have a place in the future. And we're at a time right now where we've got all new technology and all the, advances. And, last time we had a huge technological advance like the internet, we got left behind, right? We're still getting rural broadband internet. I don't want to be left behind again. And so I'm really serious about us having a voice and making sure that that is not swayed, right, by any kind of extremism or any kind of other agenda other than taking care of one another.
Well, number one, I've been little by little over 8 years moving forward some what I believe are what you might call a tier 1 issue or issues that are essential to the future of our country, which is fiscal responsibility, readiness, whether it be militarily, whether it be education, readiness to bring our students along, I'm on Armed Services Committee as, as a retired Marine Lieutenant General, 3 stars. I know a little bit about how the military works. I'm only one of 3 Vietnam veterans left in the Congress, by the way. There's only 3. And, but I went to DC to represent the constituents of the first district, but to start the ball rolling towards greater fiscal responsibility. In other words, getting the federal government out of our taxpayers' pocket, getting the federal government out of the way of small business. And that's not an easy task because the government has grown too much over the last, let's say, a couple of decades. And I believe that's detrimental to our country. And that's what most of the constituents in the first district talked to me about. As one gentleman said, who had a little concrete business, we need 3 things from the federal government: help us educate our kids, not do it for us, but help us, keep us safe, and leave us alone. So I kind of subscribe to that because of the fact that we are a country that was founded by people who cared about God, who cared about the freedom that we have as individuals. And, one definition of freedom, a young girl, and I guess she was in high school, asked me about a year ago, she said, "What's your definition of a freedom?" I said, "We are free to do what we want, but we cannot infringe on the rights of others to do what they want." And that's how freedom works. And so it's respect, dignity, and for others when it comes to being American citizens and being involved. And I like to be involved. So I'm getting things done, working with others. Democrats, Republicans, doesn't make any difference to me. We got 435 members of the House, and pretty much half and half. And you got to all work together at some way to get good things done. I think what I'd like voters to know is that, again, I'm conservative by nature. I'm a man of very deep faith. I'm a family man, grandfather, but I care very deeply about our country. I care very deeply about our communities. I care very deeply about everything from the water to the woods to the air, because I live in the middle of a 1,000,000-acre national forest, 2 miles from a wilderness area on water. And we are blessed in Michigan, especially in the first district, with some of the most beautiful natural resources. And I aim to protect them and also use them all at the same time, because you can do both and enjoy the beauty of the outdoors.
I want voters to know that I'm going to tell you a story. Every month, there's a veteran from Escanaba who's done so much for our country. He's a Vietnam veteran. And every single month, he donates a little bit to my campaign, a lot, right? And he, with that donation, gives a letter with it that just has 3 words: keep the faith. And that has been, to me, the motto of everything that we're doing. It's just keeping the faith. These times are scary, and sometimes they seem extreme, and we have people telling us that the world is burning. What I want to tell you is keep the faith, because I see so much good here. I see people all over this district that are just doing amazing things, and they're innovative and creative and gritty and resilient. And, I have people say, "Kelly, why in the world are you running for office in this kind of a time?" But I have to say, no, it's been one of the most inspirational things I've ever done in my life, because I have just met people every day putting their head down and doing good things for their community. And so what I want everybody to know is just keep the faith. We're going to get through this.